Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of Reddit Podcast Stories, where today, my daughter is demanding to use her college fund for a wedding and a house. Backstory. I, 43 female, have 4 kids. Elle, who's 22, female, Katie, who's 17, Cam, who's 15, and Isla, who's 5, and I'm also currently pregnant right now. Me and my husband, who's 50, male, started adding to college funds every month for each of our kids pretty much as soon as we found out that we were pregnant. I won't say the exact amount, but my husband has an excellent job, so it's more than most. We never told our kids because it just didn't feel necessary. Elle got pregnant when she was 16 and ended up dropping out of school. I was very disappointed, but I understood. However, I was under the impression she would return later, but she still has no plans to. The dad stuck around, and now they have one more kid who's 3 and one on the way. They're engaged, but don't plan to get married until they can afford it. They were doing okay financially for a while, but due to the market right now, they've been struggling because Elle can't find a job since she doesn't have a diploma, so we've been loaning them money for the time being. Katie is a senior and just got accepted into college. We've been setting everything up, and obviously she knows about the fund now. Katie and Elle were talking, and she was telling Elle about the school, and Elle asked how she was planning on paying for it. Katie responded, "My college fund." I was in the room while they were talking, and this made me panic. We had just planned on splitting it between the remaining 4 since we knew that they were going to college. Elle asked me if they all had one, and I wasn't going to lie, so I said yes. She got really excited and went to call her fiancé and tell him the good news. I was confused and told her that she couldn't have the money. She asked me why, and I said it's for school. She got upset and left my house. The next day, I got a call from Elle. She was crying and begging me to let her have the funds so she could finally afford a down payment and maybe even a wedding. I told her she could have the money if she goes back to school, and whatever money is left over, she could use for whatever she wants to. She got super mad and started yelling at me and saying it's her money. I told her that it was my money and those were my conditions, and she hung up. Now we're being harassed by her fiancé's family. They aren't as fortunate as us, calling us jerks and a lot of other names, saying it's all gonna go to waste if she doesn't use it. We're setting her up for failure, etc. Now I'm wondering if I'm the jerk because my dad said we should just give her the money as we saved it for her after all. Update. My daughter came over on Thursday and we were able to work things out. We both apologized and had a long discussion. She will be getting her GED and will be going to trade school in exchange for me giving her whatever money is left over. She hasn't decided which one yet, but it will probably be cosmetology. Her fiancé's family has apologized. We also decided to pay for a small wedding ceremony and reception as a gift. I wonder if Elle would have gone back to school if she had known about the money. As a teen with a baby and no money, one concentrates on survival, not on education. If her parents had told her about the college fund, she might have made different choices, maybe getting an education and not having a second and third kid without career prospects, etc. The weirdest thing to me is that there was apparently no discussion about her daughter's future when she was 16. How is that not a conversation? Okay, you're dropping out of school and having a kid. What's your plan for the future? Dad and I have a college fund for you and would like you to go back to school. Is that so hard? Your kid is having a kid, and your reaction to her dropping out of school is, "I was very disappointed, but I understood." They clearly have financial resources. I just don't get it. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her daughter? Please let us know.
I know this is the unpopular opinion, but college funds are set aside by parents for college, not to use however you please. Just because your parents have saved year after year for you to get an education doesn't mean you're entitled to use that amount of money however you want to. Don't at me.
My fiancé got a face tattoo without talking to anyone. My fiancé, Kim, I've just learned is completely insane. She took some days off work this week, being sick, and avoided seeing most people in person. She claimed she was feeling sick and just wanted to stay home alone. She's never given me any indication that she would lie about this in the 6 years we've been together. No one in her family had any worries because she was a stable individual and would never do anything crazy. She got a face tattoo. She took 3 sick days off of work to recover from the fact that she got a face tattoo. She told no one of this plan beforehand. I've never in our entire time together been talked to about tattoos by Kim. She showed no indication that she was even interested in getting any. I was not even the first to learn. Her sister visited her because she was worried after Kim canceled meeting with her for lunch on the 3rd day of being sick and got the grand reveal. She didn't tell anyone beforehand because she didn't want to be talked out of it and hid the results because of the swelling and the redness from getting the tattoo. She thought we would react badly and not be able to understand the artistic meaning. Kim is Asian American. She got Japanese symbols going down her forehead and under her eye. I don't know the meaning of them. I don't really know if I care to know the meaning of them. Kim's parents are Japanese immigrants. According to her sister, who was nice enough to inform me of this whole debacle, this is a big no-no in Japanese culture. Tattoos have links to crime and are looked down upon. Her parents are beside themselves, and that's a whole other set of drama that I can't even begin to approach. Kim talked to me last night about it and acted offended and started a fight with me because I told her it was absolutely insane of her to do this. She works a public-facing job. She talks face-to-face with clients in the financial industry. The minute her boss finds out, the career that she went to school for will be over. She actually didn't consider her job or family or me at all and decided a long time ago that she was going to express herself freely without any concerns. I'm worried about her now. This is not normal. She blocked my number after our fight and is ghosting me and her sister because we're trying to help. But dear Lord, this is far beyond me. I cannot comprehend what I'm even supposed to do right now. Kim's lost her mind. Is there any chance I'll be happily married to this? A woman who went and got a face tattoo and hid that fact because she knew we would all talk her out of it. Dear Lord, I really need to run, don't I? Update. The engagement is pretty much off. Kim has told me she never wants to see me again, and I woke up this morning with her ring and a box of stuff that I gave her on my porch. I don't know what's going on with her. Her sister and family have been trying their best, but nothing on their end is working. I brought up to her sister the idea this is a mental breakdown and they're looking into getting her help. It's painfully slow considering Kim is not responding to anything and is refusing to talk to anyone. I really don't know what to say here, I guess. To answer some questions, Kim is 29 and I'm 28. In the 7 years I've known her, she has never acted like this at all. She had a good relationship with her parents, and while they were a bit overbearing at times, they supported her in going to college and getting a career rather than starting a family. From what I've gathered, they probably would have been fine with any tattoo she got as long as it wasn't on her face, neck, or hands. Even then, this kind of behavior is as far from Kim as I can imagine. She just lost her mind out of nowhere. It's not like I can do anything about it either. She's blocked my number and does not want to see me. I'm just at a loss for words. One day I'm engaged, and the next I'm not, and my ex has a face tattoo. Update. This was just the start of her doing everything she could to ruin her life. She broke up with me and called off our 7-year relationship when I questioned why she did this. She worked in a client-facing job for an incredibly large financial institution and was let go within a month of showing back up for work after getting her tattoo. I kept in contact with Kim's sister hoping for some news. They tried to get her help as they thought she was having some kind of psychotic break. However, she eventually called the police on her own family, claiming that they were harassing her. After that, I decided to just walk away. Kim didn't just destroy her own life. When she broke up with me, I felt numb. I knew this wasn't Kim doing this. I wanted to believe deep down that Kim was always like this. Always this impulsive crazy who would ruin her life by getting a face tattoo. I tried to convince myself that I had not lost a wonderful woman who I had spent 7 years of my life with. However, the person who made these choices was not Kim. The woman who told me over the phone she hated my guts for not supporting her. The woman who wrote she hated me and only ever stayed with me out of pity. That was not the woman I asked to marry. That wasn't Kim. That was someone who I came to find out was having a mental breakdown. The day I walked away and told her sister I could not deal with it anymore was the worst day of my life. It hit me like a train. The numbness and denial of what I lost hit me all at once. I almost quit my own job and moved back home to my parents. I can only thank my boss for being so understanding that she let me take 4 weeks off to deal with what happened. She and the rest of my team went far beyond what should ever be expected of coworkers and management that makes me realize how close I was to leaving my job I actually enjoy. I never moved on from Kim, but I came to accept what happened. I thought I was okay until 2 weeks ago. I got a call from Kim. She had blocked my number and done everything she could to remove me from her life. My mind just blanked when I saw it was her calling. I picked up, and it was actually her. We didn't talk. I did not know what else to say to her. We decided she would come over to my place, and we talked. The tattoo is still there, but she's covering it up now with makeup. She says when she has the funds, she's going to look into getting it removed if possible. She had lost a lot of weight since I last saw her. She's not been able to find a new job. She'll probably need to move to a new city for that. She wasn't the Kim I had fallen in love with. She was like a shell of her former self. Something just wasn't there anymore that used to be. Kim told me what had happened. The year leading up to the tattoo was awful for her. The stress of everything seemed to pile up more and more. I'll respect her and keep much of what she told me secret. However, the thing that's important is that she secretly started taking things she shouldn't have to keep her performance up at work to deal with everything. And one day, she just out of nowhere decided she hated everything about her life. She explained why at the time she wanted the tattoo. It doesn't really make sense, but a lot of what she was thinking at the time didn't. And from there, she just lost control of everything. I won't talk about what happened after she disappeared, but it's not pretty. There are things she did that will follow her for the rest of her life. It explained a lot, but it did not make things any better. We talked for nearly the entire night. She didn't leave my place until almost 4 a.m. Since then, she said that she wants to try and get back together with me. She admitted she knows things cannot be the same, yet she wants to try. I haven't talked to anyone about what I'm about to say yet. I've held off on talking to Kim about it because it feels selfish, but there's something about the way Kim acts about the way it affected my life that irks me. When we talked that night, she said that I was lucky she cut me off. I was lucky I didn't get put through any of this. I was lucky that my crazy ex wasn't at my door screaming or showing up to my work and causing a scene. She acts like my life wasn't affected at all. I told her what happened after she left, how much it hurt, how I almost quit my own job and moved across the country. Her response was dismissive, like because I didn't go through with that, I don't get to complain. She acted like because I was not the one with a tattoo on my face, I don't get to act like it's having long-lasting effects on me. She didn't even apologize for the hateful note that she left with my things when she returned them, or for the phone call where she called me a manipulative, selfish jerk who was just trying to use her, or even just for breaking up with me. She knows she was wrong to do it, but it's almost as if she's acting like because she had a breakdown, I can't hold her accountable for what she did to me because it wasn't long-lasting. I texted her last night saying how hard it was for me when she left. She ignored it entirely and just tried to move on. No acknowledgement at all. I don't know why, but it really hurt me. It hurt me so much. I feel like I did back when all those emotions finally hit me after she left. I wish she had just never come back into my life now. I wish I didn't know whatever happened. I wish I hadn't picked up the call because it hurts. But a part of me feels like I'm being selfish or complaining too much, that I don't get to feel this way because I'm not the one who had the mental breakdown. I would really love to know what tattoo artist even agreed to this. I have a ton of tattoos myself. We do not tattoo faces, necks, or hands of clients we don't know. This is what's called the Disqualified for Life Club, because you're disqualified from getting a lot of jobs. I personally don't tattoo these areas for that reason. My shop would have flat out refused to do this. I saw videos of my fiancée cheating during her bachelorette party. I can't believe I'm involved in a story like this. I haven't actually talked to anyone about what happened, even though a lot of people are trying to. I think I just need to vent a little bit before I talk to anyone. My girlfriend and I were together 4 years, and we were engaged to be married. Last weekend, she had her bachelorette party. I didn't have a problem with it, especially after what she told me her plan was. Her and some friends were going to rent an Airbnb or something, a big place with like 4 bedrooms, and they were just going to get trashed and party and hang out. The day of the party, she was at my place, a 2-bedroom apartment. One room I use as a home office. I'm a self-employed investor. She makes all of the arrangements and goes to meet her friends. We texted a little bit, but as the party warmed up, we stopped, and I figured they were just having fun. After midnight, I start getting ready for bed and notice that the computer in my office isn't turned off. Rather, the black screen was just a screensaver. It turns out fiancé had not logged out and her messenger was still open on the computer. There was a group chat where her and the girls had been planning everything, and a lot of videos were uploaded to the chat. I was a little curious, and I started watching some of the videos. Most of them were pretty innocent, just a group of 15 getting drunk and dancing and whatever. Then there was a video of a woman going to the front door and about 10 guys enter the apartment. I don't know who they were and I didn't recognize anyone. There were a couple videos of the guys and girls dancing and drinking, and then the worst happened. A video started of my fiancé making out with a guy on the sofa. She stops and rolls over and starts making out with another one. Then she ends up going into a room with 2 of them. There was also a video of them coming out of that room that according to the timestamps was 5 minutes later, but that doesn't mean anything. For all I know, the videos were an hour apart and they were all just uploaded at the same time. Seeing all this was like a sledgehammer to me. I walked into the bathroom because I thought I would be sick. I wasn't, but I paced back and forth in the apartment for like 30 minutes. Then I poured myself a rocks glass full of whiskey and chugged it down. I saved the videos and then made one of my own. Just a short little selfie video of me saying, "Hi, this is OP, your ex-fiance. Just wanted to say I saw the videos from the party and the wedding is off. I hope it was worth it." I'm glad I saved the videos because in less than 10 minutes they were all deleted and my phone started blowing up, but I didn't answer any calls or texts. At first, it was just my girlfriend texting saying she can explain and it's not what it looked like. Then her friends joined in, but I ignored everyone and I didn't respond. Then suddenly I got a request for a video chat and I'll admit my curiosity got the better of me. I answered the call but didn't say anything. It was my fiance sitting in front of the camera and she looked like she had been crying and the other friends just sitting around her. I really only know maybe 4 of the friends, but I recognized a lot of the others. First, she starts apologizing, but kept saying it wasn't what it looked like. It was just a party, and the guys coming over was not planned or anything like that. She said it might have looked bad, but nothing happened. When I didn't say anything, she just kept going on with more of the same, and her friends backed her up. The more I didn't speak, the more hysterical she got. Eventually, she admitted to kissing the 2 guys, but dumped the blame on her friends, who all took responsibility for that, which surprised me a little. She said the kisses didn't mean anything, and that's all that happened. Then she seemed to remember the video of her going into the room, and she started screaming that it was just a joke and nothing happened. All the other women confirmed it was just a joke and that my fiance had walked into the room and then turned around and walked out again. This just kept going on, and they just kept repeating themselves. Eventually, everyone got quiet, and all I said was, "Is there anything else to add?" She said no, and I just ended the video call. I went onto social media and changed my relationship status to single and posted that the wedding was off, and if anyone had bought a present, they should feel free to return it. Fiance saw the post and is freaking out even more and just keeps insisting that all she did was kiss and nothing else. I sent her a text saying if I suspect that her or any of her friends lie about what happened or try to make me the bad guy, then I will post all of the videos online. Right now, no one else knows what's happening. This was a couple days ago, and everything for the wedding is canceled, and my fiance just keeps pursuing me. Any advice on what I should do from here? Update. Pretty simple. Everything has been called off and canceled. The wedding is officially not happening. I got the ring back and all of her stuff is moved out. She's staying with her parents for now. We did talk a little bit. It was mostly just her begging and apologizing and crying. She keeps insisting that all she did was kiss them. And she has never done anything like this before, and she promises it won't ever happen again. Part of me really wanted to believe her, but the problem is that this incident puts our entire relationship in doubt. I think she may be telling the truth, but again, the point is there's no way to know. If it is true that her friends pressured her to do it, then how can I believe they never did it before? We kept going around in circles because ultimately there's just no way I can be sure. She said she would do anything, including cutting off her friends, and only ever drink around me. She really blasted her friends online, saying if the party had stuck to the original plan, she'd still be getting married, so maybe she's already cut them off. All I can say is that at the moment I'm single, and I'm just going to live my life. Probably take some time to myself after getting out of a 4-year relationship. What's crazy is that a couple of her friends are also texting me just to talk. I haven't responded yet because, well, it's hard for me to trust them. Thanks again to everyone who expressed sympathy, and I hope none of you ever need to deal with anything like this in the future. All she did was kiss them? Okay, and for a lot of people, that's enough to warrant breaking things off. If plans hadn't changed, she'd still be getting married? No. If you hadn't cheated, you'd still be getting married. Maybe her friends encouraged her to cheat, but they didn't tie her down and make her do it. If someone's going to cheat, either of their own volition or because they can't stand an iota or peer pressure, they'll find a way to do it. And the fact that his ex can't take an ounce of accountability for her own behavior, he really dodged a bullet. Kissing is also cheating. Ex-fiance is only upset she got caught. Thank goodness OP broke up with her. The issue's not whether she hooked up with anyone, it's the fact she had the audacity to kiss the other guys and cross boundaries and then blame her friend for her own crappy behavior. If she can be so easily swayed now, imagine what would have happened after they got married. Thankfully, OP has broken up with her. Am I the jerk for telling my depressed brother he only has himself to blame for our parents not wanting to talk to him? I'm male, 34. My younger brother, Matt, who's 31, was engaged to this woman, Emma, who's 30, for the past year. Everyone in our family, my sister, parents, and myself, thought they were a perfect match. Emma was very polite, well-educated, had a great family whom he had met a few times, and was head over heels for Matt. Fast forward to 3 months ago, and Emma finds out that Matt cheated on her with this other woman, Cindy, who's 25. Needless to say, the marriage has been called off, and everyone has been beyond angry with Matt. Our parents haven't spoken to Matt since the fallout of what's happened, and even I have only spoken with him twice, each call lasting less than 5 minutes since then. Our sister has also not spoken with him either. This morning I received a call from Matt saying he wanted to reconcile with the family. He mentioned how upset and depressed he's been since making the worst mistake of his life and how much he regrets his actions. I was listening up until this point, but got annoyed when he started mentioning how also Cindy wants to meet our parents and the rest of us. He told me that he left our parents a voicemail a few days ago, but they haven't responded and that he feels isolated from our family. I point blank told him that he only had himself to blame for this and that he clearly didn't think what he did was a mistake since he's still with Cindy. He said he just wanted us to give them a chance, but I told him I had to go to work and left the call while he was finishing a sentence as I was very frustrated with him. Am I the jerk? Update. For everyone suggesting that Matt found his true love in Cindy, that's questionable from my perspective. He still claims his current relationship with her is a mistake, and I'm fairly certain he has said as much to her in the past. Update 2. After reading more of the comments and some self-reflection, I've decided to reach out to my brother. It's true, he has done something terrible, and there's simply no other way of seeing it. However, despite the disappointment, I still do feel that I have a responsibility towards him at this low point in his life, especially considering that my parents and sister probably won't be reaching out to him. I called him, and it lasted around 20 minutes. I offered to meet him in person, which did seem to cheer him up a bit. I, however, made it abundantly clear to him that I have no interest in meeting Cindy. At this point, he said something that confirmed my suspicions on what he thinks of Cindy, but was still pretty surprising to hear him say. He told me that he's open to the idea of dumping Cindy if it helps build back his relationship with our parents and sister. When I asked him if he was sure about that, he said that she was small time and that she knew the risks of getting into a relationship with him, so her feelings would be on her. This whole situation just sucks, and I don't even know what to feel or think about it anymore. Kinda hard for it to be the worst mistake of his life when he's currently dating part of the mistake. Not the jerk. So, I'm probably gonna get downvoted here, but you're the jerk and so are your parents. Matt made his bed when it comes to Emma, and their relationship ending is the result of that. And yeah, you're valid to be angry with him over that. But it's been 3 months and you're still cutting him off? Your own relative? You're choosing his ex's side over your own brother? Yes, he's horrible for what he did, and yes, you're valid for being angry with him, but what he did is ultimately between him and Emma. And if he's actually depressed because of this, you don't know what he might end up doing if you guys don't even talk to him. Reddit is going to downvote me for this because they view all cheaters as black and white, so I'm going to reiterate, cheating is never okay. It's never something that should be excused within the relationship. But you and your parents were not within his relationship with Emma, and the fact that you're all cutting him off like this tells me you have a huge issue with boundaries, and you and your family were too involved in his previous relationship. I have never cheated, nor will I ever cheat. I've been cheated on, and it sucks. But I never once expected my ex's family to choose my side over his. Never. That's so weird to me. You do you, but he didn't cheat on you or your parents, and you're acting like he did is weird. Daughter's boyfriend's parents are threatening to sue us for letting him live with us. Our daughter, who's 20, has been dating her boyfriend, who's 19, for about 8 months. Due to problems at home and extremely controlling parents, we invited him to stay with us when he had a fight with them. We attempted to mediate for the sake of both of them. Now his parents are accusing us of interference in a verbal contract they say they have with their son to follow for a specific career path. Their son says the only thing he agreed to was paying them back the money they borrowed for school. The loan is in his name. We're giving him a place to stay with no expectations. We don't profit off of it in any way. We live in Ohio. They laughably claim they were serving us a cease and desist order in a Dunkin' Donuts when we were trying to mediate. This consisted of them handing us a printed piece of paper that looks like it came off Google somewhere. No attorney names, etc. Apparently, the mom has tried this tactic with other people and it has been successful. Does any of this sound like it could have merit? Any additional steps to take? We're currently waiting to see if they actually serve us with real papers before contacting an attorney. We're taking the following steps. Filed change of address. Opened his own bank account that they're not aware of. Both of his parents are out of work on disability of some sort. Update. Thank you for all the reassurance and recommendations. We've ordered his birth certificate, locked down his credit, and are working on getting things replaced. Change of address was filed, and we're hoping it goes into effect before his driver's license arrives. His new cell phone is en route, and we will be returning his old one. Update. Our daughter's boyfriend has now been living with us for a month. He has locked his credit, has obtained his social security card, driver's license, and birth certificate. He started a job 3 weeks ago, working full-time, making $20 an hour. To me, it's not the greatest job in the world. Very heavy physical labor, but he seems to enjoy it, and that's what's important. He got his first paycheck and was so excited to be able to purchase things around the house. We took him to move the rest of his stuff out. His parents knew we were coming and had strategically moved all of their cars so that we couldn't park in their driveway. We made a point in parking in front of a neighbor's house so they couldn't complain about it, and I could almost see his father stomping his foot like a 2-year-old who didn't get a treat. Since then, things have been quiet. My wife isn't loving my new friend group. My wife and I have been together for almost 20 years. We met in university, and since we both moved for school, we always had the same group of friends. As we got older, this naturally transitioned to us mostly having couple friends. Our marriage is pretty solid. We still love each other very much, and there's been no hints of infidelity, but I can't say we haven't become a bit set in our ways. A few years back, I made some big changes to my health and fitness and started running regularly. My wife was generally supportive, but at times I could tell she was a bit put off when it got in the way of something she wanted to do. About 6 months ago, I joined a running group. We meet on Thursday nights for a run and then get drinks after. It's a mixed group with age ranges from 28 to 42 and various relationship statuses. I really get along with these folks and have become friends with a number of them. This means I generally stay out later on Thursdays and have hung out with them on separate occasions as well. It's been amazing to meet a new group of friends at my age, and they share a lot of interests with me that my wife just doesn't like. For instance, we did a weekend kayaking trip recently, which my wife would absolutely not have been on board for. My wife acts like she's cool with me hanging out with these folks, but I can tell she doesn't love it. I get it. I'm suddenly staying out late and spending weekends away with a bunch of people she doesn't know, and that includes some younger single women. That said, I'm absolutely open about everything, and there's nothing funny going on. I'm not sure it's even jealousy of that sort, but rather that she'd rather I just be home and available at all times in case she wants or needs something from me. She started acting passive-aggressive about anything that involves plans with the group. We have a shared calendar, and if something's going on and we have nothing planned, I'll add into it. Aside from Thursday nights, these events really only happen every few weeks. If we have other plans pop up, it's like she intentionally tries to plan over these events rather than just saying we're busy and looking for another free night. Recently, she got a bit upset with me for going to my regular running night after she returned from a work trip. She told me repeatedly that she was exhausted and was going to bed early, so I thought it would be fine, but then got some passive-aggressive texts, so I cut out early and went home to spend time with her. We then sat on our phones, not talking, with the TV on for 45 minutes before she went to bed. I tried including her in some of my activities in the past, but she'll mostly just complain and then make excuses to not do them again. She doesn't have a separate friend group of her own, but is very close with a lot of her colleagues, and anytime she goes to a work event, which are pretty frequent, I can count on her not answering her phone and coming home pretty drunk very late at night. It doesn't upset me at all, and I trust her. For my part, I will admit that I selfishly don't really want to involve her in my friend group at this point. They're new friendships, and I don't want to change the dynamic. I also know that she won't have a lot in common with these folks. If I'm honest, I also worry a little bit about her sabotaging things. I don't really know how to proceed at this point. I really don't want to give up my new friends, but I don't know how to work through it with my wife. Update. Laid my cards on the table and just told my wife that I posted here. We're now laughing and bonding in front of a campfire, talking about how I'm a cheating jerk, she's a codependent mess, and our marriage is on the verge of collapse. We also talked things through, and she admitted she's feeling a bit neglected and that it might be coming out as passive aggression because she doesn't mean for it to. I assured her she's my ride or die and told her I'd make sure she felt like my #1 priority in the future. I read her some of the posts discussing the single young women, and she laughed hard enough to spit out some wine. She also said she understood my reasons for not wanting to invite her out with folks immediately, but trusted we'd get there soon enough. Thanks to everyone who asked insightful questions and gave practical advice. To the people who made snap judgments and jumped to name-calling, thanks for the rest of tonight's entertainment. Am I the jerk for not canceling a boys' trip upon my wife's request? So here's the backstory. Me, 33 male, and my wife, 32 female, have a 1-year-old son. Back when he was 5 months old, my friends and I began planning an annual golf trip that would take place 6 months later. As soon as we had tentative dates and location, I asked my wife if it was okay to go. She gave me approval, and I began to plan. I found an Airbnb and booked flights. Fast forward to 5 months later, a couple of weeks before the trip. Our son was in the midst of a sleep regression, and he was waking up several times each night. My wife still naturally fed him, and he would not accept me when he'd wake up upset. As a result, she was left doing all of the tending to him during the nights. One day, she approached me and said she didn't want me to go anywhere and that I needed to stay home because she was afraid it would be too much for her alone. I told her that I understood why she was anxious about it, but she had agreed to me going already, and I'd committed about $1,000 to this, had the Airbnb in my name for all 12 of us. This evolved into an argument, and she was very mad that I would not change my mind. I told her that I'd gladly return the favor on a trip if she wanted to plan one, and encouraged her to do so. During my trip, she sent me texts and called me, very upset. When I returned home, we had another argument about it. We've since reconciled, but I know her stance on it has not changed, nor has mine. Am I the jerk? Edit. I'd been asked to comment on length of trip and if I coordinated help for her before I left. I did coordinate help, but she wasn't comfortable with someone else watching him at that point. The trip was 2 days and 3 nights. Not the jerk. Does she not have family nearby? Do you not have family nearby? Did you take all of the other people she knows on the trip with you? She had plenty of notice to even arrange an out-of-town visit for help at this point where your kid started his sleep regression. Wasting that amount of money is insane to me, and seeing the number of "you're the jerk" votes in this thread is staggering. I'm a mom, and I flat out sent her father on a trip while she was in sleep regression because having him around, being effectively useless since she only wanted me, made everything approximately 100 times harder emotionally and mentally. I hired my mother to house sit and dog sit for a week, and I returned to my house in shambles. Last week, my wife and I traveled to a music festival for about 5 to 6 days. I hired my mom, she needed the money, I needed a dog sitter, to take care of things while we were away for an agreed upon price. We cleaned the house prior to leaving, left her with strict instructions for what to do with our Great Dane, stocked the fridge, wrote the Wi-Fi and desktop passwords down for her, and prepaid her so she'd have some money. Fast forward to yesterday, we arrived to find lots of things had been done to our home, and it sent me into a fit. My wife and I are 30-somethings who just bought our very first house together, and it was bought, remodeled, and to our likings. The list is as follows. Every wall in the house had been painted with a color that did not match our normal paint scheme. The job was also incomplete and patchy in most areas. The previous paint was totally fine and only 7 months old. Missing electrical outlet covers, still don't know why. Over 100 cigarette butts in my rose-potted plant out front. Items missing and moved. Pictures hung and holes in the walls. We did not intend on hanging anything yet until we decided on what we wanted to hang. A shop light was ran over the kitchen table and tacked to the wall. 6-foot ladder laid on vinyl records, destroying 3 of them in the process. Spare house key made by my mom's boyfriend. Now I feel like I must change my locks. Indoor dog bed thrown in the mud. Duct tape found over the motion detectors and Ring doorbell. Not to mention the whole reason I needed her in the first place, the dog. He'd been left out back, seemingly the entire time. He sleeps indoors and comes in frequently for heat breaks. Barely fed, and his dog bed is caked in mud and rain, and I feel it is necessary to toss it in the garbage now. Naturally, I lost my head and my cool. I immediately started yelling about the fact that this is not their home. It was not okay for them to treat our home like it was theirs, doing whatever flight or fancy entered their brains. I almost suspect they could have been on something. That's the only thing I can rationalize their thought processes with. The entire time, my mother refused to accept responsibility for their actions, began to cry, and called me ungrateful. I feel like I'm being gaslit by my own mother for being upset. Our relationship is now tarnished even further than it was, and my wife doesn't want her back here. The scenario has played in my mind countless times, and I feel completely awful about yelling at her, but it's the complete lack of accepting responsibility on her part that has me fuming, on top of acting like nothing was even amiss. Am I the jerk here, or was I justified in my right to be upset? Update. Have completely ghosted my mom and blocked her cell phone number. I've changed the locks and began the process of fixing my home out of pocket. My dog is back to his chipper self and is scheduled for a vet visit tomorrow. I really appreciate everyone's support just poring over this post. I will reply as much as possible. Thanks. Not the jerk. I'd press charges. You can sue her, but unless she has money or assets of some kind, you probably won't get much. OP. Thought about it, couldn't bring myself to sue my mother. And even if I could, the situation is, as you'd imagine. She's broke with no assets other than a car. Yeah, I figured. may still be a good idea to press charges. Maybe talk to your homeowner's insurance and see if you have any way to recoup some money from damages. Always worth a shot. Not the jerk, but this is really bad. Like, call the police bad. I wonder, was it a complete surprise to you that your mom acted like this? She has no relevant history? Because in that case, I would want mom evaluated for neurological problems. If not, if you should have suspected this might happen, you owe your partner an enormous apology, and you must swear that finally the blinders are off and you are no longer in denial. Get your locks changed pronto. Time to tell mom she cannot be part of your life as long as she isn't sober. Well, what would you do in this situation? Would you sue your mom or not? Please let us know.
Suing would be an understatement for what I would do.
Do this next. Tap here on your screen to come see our new podcast playlist, where you'll find thousands of hours of the best stories you've ever heard.
Or tap the one on the right. That episode is specifically just for you, based on other videos you've enjoyed the most.